a pleasant good Wednesday evening and welcome to the month of March. I'm Chase Miller and this is the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show as presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. This week on the program, a ton of hoops talk here in North Dakota and a little bit of Minnesota as well. We'll be joined by Jason Brend of the Thompson Tommy girls basketball team and Justin Klein of Devils Lake as both squads are making their way to Minot for the State A girls basketball tournament coming up on Thursday from the Minot State Dome. From there, Ben Holen and LaMoure-Litchville Marion will have the 4-5 matchup on Thursday. From the Jamestown Civic Center for the State B, we'll talk with Coach Holen on the matchup with Benson County and how the Lobos got to state. From there, Jeremy Skoglund and the Oaks Tornadoes won the District 1 Boys Basketball Championship. We'll hear from him after their win in Wahpeton, and Matt Norman of the Central Cass Squirrels will be joining us as well after a nice win to close out the regular season at Northern Cass. And our senior spotlight this week in Minnesota from Park Christian, it's Bridger Carlson as the Falcons open up the section tournament coming up tomorrow night here on YourLiveEvent.com. But let's get into our conversation right off the bat here with Jason Brend and Justin Klein on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Well, join us here from the Thompson Tommy's perspective. Second straight year from the new format that they're making their way back to the Minot State Dome here for Division A girls basketball. Join us as coach again, that is Jason Brend. And Jason, let's just talk about the course of the season. You go through the Region 2 tournament, able to win a state qualifier against Northern Cass to find yourself to the Magic City again for a second consecutive season. What was last week like as a coach going through that region tournament, playing a lot of games in a short amount of time to get back to Minot?
Yeah, it's good to see you, Chase. And you're right. Last week it was a grind. It really was. You get to that regional tournament week, and there's some stress on the kids and coaches for that matter, I guess too. The week of the week of the regional tournament, and we went into our first round game against HCV, who we played a week prior, and we had a pretty good handle, feeling we knew kind of what they wanted to try do, and we came out of that one fairly successful. I think that's a team that definitely improved throughout the course of the season. Second round, we had Carrington in the semifinals, and that's a team that's given us some fits during the season. We'd split with them during the regular season. They're long, they're athletic, they defend well, they're super disciplined, and it was just a tough game, and they got us in the semis. And thankfully, with this new system we have and setup, we were able to, if we won a third place game, get that state qualifier. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. There was times in that third place game that, especially in the third quarter, where we were on life support for a while there. Grafton made a pretty serious run and, went up 10, 11. I don't even know what it was. And thankfully, the girls found a spark and, kind of ignited things, and we got things rolling in the fourth quarter. And I think we ended up getting them by about 10, but that put us in that qualifier game then on Saturday for our fourth game of the week, which, you worry about the kids and their legs. You really do. It's a situation where you had a couple days in there for practices, but you really didn't want to do a whole lot other than maybe walk through a couple things and talk a little bit about, game planning. But, that qualifier game against Northern Cass, who, again, we'd played about a week prior to the tournament time. And I'll tell you what, watching them and following them through the regional tournament, that was a different team. They really played some good basketball, and that man-to-man defense they were playing was great, and they shared the ball well. And of course, Hayden Crockett, who in my opinion is one of the best players in the state, you got to worry about her. And fortunately, we were able to come out on top of that one.
You go through this particular course this season, the goal always for any team is to find their way to the last weekend, right? Just figure out what you're going to do. You'll figure out what the matchups are. But take a look at the 8 teams that are there here, Jason. Some new flavor, but some teams who've been there before. You've seen a lot of teams that have either made state to a state qualifier, to a Langdon area Munich who's making their way to a state Division B. So how did that schedule, playing the Devils Lake twice, playing the Carringtons twice, playing a Kindred, playing a Northern Cass, playing a Langdon area, playing some teams that were close on the door that didn't get to a state qualifier. How did that schedule help you throughout the course of the season?
Well, that's something that we always try to do, is we try to schedule as heavy as we can, to teams that we think are going to be there at the end of the year, teams that we think are really tough competition. They're going to have a great year, because it makes it better. We don't see it quite as much now in this A division, but in the past when we were in the B, sometimes there'd be games that you went into them and you just knew you were going to win. And whether that's right or wrong to feel that way, you just did. And now you can't do that, because now pretty much any team could knock you off on any given night. So it's a situation with that tough schedule, and we try to load up on some of those other teams where, South Prairies and Botnos, and like you mentioned about some of the teams in our region with Devils Lake and Carrington, you know, down south, obviously, we haven't seen Valley City, but, Kindred and some of those who were there. But, it makes it better. It sets a baseline. It kind of shows you those are the teams that play really good basketball and they're able to expose some of your weaknesses and show you some areas where you need to improve. And sometimes that's necessary, as coaches and players as well. We kind of get comfortable a little bit, feeling, okay, we're doing things right, things are going well. Sometimes you got to take a little bit of a clip or a punch in the mouth every now and then just to kind of step back and refocus on some of those little things and fundamentals of the game. So we're happy about it. Obviously, we didn't have a perfect season, with the 5 losses, and that's okay. We feel like last year we went into the state tournament undefeated, and everything kind of came to us a little too easy. And I think we maybe peaked a little early. Well, this year, okay, we've had to face some adversity. We've had to go at some things a little bit differently, and I think it's made us a little bit tougher. And I think that maybe we're better prepared this year coming into that state tournament.
We'll talk about the 4-5 matchup with you and the Rugby Panthers to finish the day on day number 1 in the quarters. But let's talk about the state tournament just in general, because for those that are old enough now, as you and I get a little bit older, we become old enough now to take a look back and say the old B used to be the Region 1 champ was schedule and play the Region 5, or the Region 2 was going to play the Region 3. It was
Yeah.
predetermined. And now you heard enough people throughout the state say, hey, sometimes the state championship game might have been on that first day. Okay, so let's switch it. Let's see the top 4 and then we'll randomize it. Then we'll see the top 5 and randomize it. Now we get to seed all 8 here in Jason in Division A. Just your thoughts on Division A, able to seed 1 through 8 from a coach's vote that gets there. How do you like that compared to what it used to be with the random draws or the old region play to region, team going to the state tournament?
Yeah, like you mentioned about being one of the old guys now, I can remember one year in the state championship boys basketball now in the B where Langdon and Watford City played one of the best state championship games that I can remember. Then the next year, having very similar teams had to play in the first round, and everybody's saying like you said that, and with the randomized draw when they ranked the top 4 or 5, that was all right, but sometimes what it doesn't do is it doesn't touch on teams that are hot at that time. The teams that have been ranked all year long, they're going to get those higher seeds. But there's those teams that can come in and they're just on a roll. I can remember one year using us as an example, I guess, where we had to play Langdon, who was always one of the better teams, and we had to play them there. I think they were a 2 seed and we were a random draw, and we were able to upset them. Well, it's a situation where we come in riding a wave. We were playing really well at the time, and they had been just winning, 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 and at some point, like we mentioned a little bit ago, you got to get punched in the teeth a little bit in order to keep things kind of focused, and we kind of caught them off guard. And now with the ranking all 8, I mean, it's great too, but I mean, there's nothing perfect. There's always going to be teams that, you feel, or they at least feel that they should have been ranked a little higher. And there's always teams that feel like, well, maybe we did kind of sneak in. I'll be honest. I thought maybe we would, okay, be, below Carrington, having them beat us in the, region tournament and earlier, but that doesn't matter at this point. You look at as much information as you can. I know I personally like to look at computer rankings when we do those types of things as well. And, that kind of looks a little bit at strength of schedule and some of those things as well. So, nothing's perfect. I like it. I'm one of those people though, too, that it's, you just tell me what I got to do and I'll do it, so, but, it's been kind of fun. Like you said, now just thinking about how it's changed over the years. And right now, maybe this is the best way to do it. Everybody ranked. But, you look at like a rugby who gets a 4 seed who knocked off undefeated South Prairie, and I know they played Devils Lake really tough, but yet you look at their schedule or their win loss, and they've got a few of them, so it's hard to judge a team like that as well. So they rise to the occasion. They're a big game team, so there's always going to be those things that are involved as well.
Yeah, without question. Like we talked about earlier, just find a way to get to state, then let the ball roll out and see what can happen. We'll have a couple questions again here with Jason Brend. We'll talk about the seniors in a moment, but let's talk about the Rugby Panthers, because as you said, sometimes it is getting hot at the right time. And you look at rugby, middle part of the season, they played the Kindreds, they played the Valley Cities, they played the Devils Lake, came up a little bit short, not necessarily getting blown out in every game, but they didn't
Right.
find a way to win those games, but battle tested. All of a sudden, I think a lot of people across the state of North Dakota maybe weren't surprised that rugby won, but in the reach and the facet of how they won, limiting South
Yeah.
Prairie to 31 points. They go on to win a Region 3 tournament. Obviously, they're carrying that wave of momentum into state where they played their regional at the Mounted State Dome. So just your early thoughts on the Rugby Panthers here, Jason.
Yeah, they might be the team that right now is feeling the best about themselves because you carry a lot of confidence in with you just because of that wave, like we talked about. You know, knowing Coach Brosart, I mean, that's a great program right there. They're definitely a state they're in a state tournament fairly often, we'll put it that way. And you know that their system is one that's very successful and they always are going to defend tough. I mean, we expect them to come get in the faces of our players and they play a smart offense where they're not forcing things. So, it's just a good team. You look at their lineup. I'll admit, with all the scouting I'm doing this week, I know numbers, but I don't necessarily know names. Okay, but they got some size. They got a 6'1" girl, some 5'11", 5'10s. And our tall girl is 5'9" when she has her shoes on. And sometimes we like to stuff some magazine pages on the bottom of her shoes just to get a little taller. I mean, it's definitely gonna be a size or height advantage for them, but we're going to have to try to combat it with our athleticism and quickness. And, it's something that we've had to do throughout the course of the season, because if you look at the Carringtons, the Kindreds, and a lot of these teams, they've all been bigger than us. So it's something we've seen before. Maybe not quite to the extent of the 6'1", but, Oak Grove had a 6-footer, and there's just teams out there that, they have that. And it's a matter of understanding the system that we're playing, I guess, as much as anything. And, my assistant coach, played for Coach Brosart in rugby. And I don't want to put her in that uncomfortable situation, or position where asking her questions, but I think back to when she played. I mean, I've been able to watch them play for a while now too, and understand kind of what they do. And I'm sure they're a little bit worried about Coach Hager giving some info. And rest assured, she's being pretty true to her roots right there, which is good because that's the way I would be too, And it's just going to be a fun matchup. I think it's two very similar teams as far as our programs go, but very different in maybe our style right now just because of their size. But, looking at a lot of their plays, certain things that we kind of run in little different manners as well.
Final thing for me, Jason, before I let you go, I'd be remiss to not talk about the seniors, as this will be whether you win, lose, or draw the final three games that they will represent the Thompson Tommies here this weekend. Always able to do that at state, which is always a great thing. Jordan Tozer and alongside with Jalem Avdam here. Just what did those two in particular mean to the group here, to the program, and what have they been like as senior leaders this season?
They're lucky. I mean, we've been lucky, I should say, because they're great leaders. They're kids who they're in it for the program. They both could probably be scoring a little bit more points if they wanted to, but they understand in our system and with some of the other players that we have that they have to share the ball, and they're really good about getting everybody involved. I would say that in both their cases, their strong suits on the defensive end. You look at first of all Jalen. I mean, there's a kid who came in a few years ago and has just done nothing but work her butt off. She's gone through some injuries, and that's our 5'9" girl that has to go protect the paint. She's the one with her back to the rim a lot of times, and that's a physical game down in there. So you have to be a tough kid and you have to be strong, and we really appreciate that. And I feel like the last third of the season, her offensive game has really come around as well. And we're happy anytime that we can get that going a little bit because it just adds another element. And Jordan Tozer, just a super athlete. I mean, she's one of those kids. She's extremely strong. She's in the weight room a lot, and she can do a lot of things for us. I mean, she can play with her back to the basket and get to the rim. She can knock down shots on the offensive side. She's a heck of a rebounder. Getting her to get in there to go get those rebounds, it's that strength that she has. Does it. But defensively, we've had her guarding anywhere from a point guard to a post. So that's but part of it too. And they're just great kids. And every year you feel the same way about the kids. You just love them so much because they've been with you for so long and they put in that time and effort. And we're so appreciative of that. And, to kind of pass the torch on to the next group and continue to have good kids. That's something that I think has kind of defined our program a little bit. And, these are two kids. I know they're not done yet, 3 games left, but we're certainly going to miss them in the future.
Hey, Jason, as always, appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you in Minot, and best of luck once you get to the Minot State Dome.
All right. Appreciate it, Chase. Thanks.
And again, Jason Brend, head coach for the Thompson Tommies.
Welcome to the Your Live Event Coaches Show. Josh Boyko here, joined by Justin Klein of Devils Lake Girls Basketball. And Coach, you guys are the #1 team headed into state this year. So Talk about the journey of this season and getting to this point.
Well, I think after how we finished last year and coming in with four returning starters, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of target, I guess, on our back and things like that. So, but we knew, we could be competitive and contend for that one seed or for a chance at state. And I think that was the goal to start. And we had a good start to the season, and we hit a little rough patch there in January, lost a couple games and two in a week actually, and to some good teams though. And now here at the end, we've kind of patched some things up and found some ways to play a little bit better. So hopefully we're playing our best basketball now.
Yeah, you mentioned bringing back four starters. So what's the luxury of being able to have already kind of that pre-existing team chemistry and just knowledge of what your team is going to be like?
Oh, it's huge, and you kind of set that too up in the summer with the team camps and things like that, and individual stuff that we do with the players, and kind of get an idea of where we can be and where we can place kids. And that's huge because you're not, spending maybe half the season trying to piece together things or figure things out, I guess. So that's been huge. I have six seniors, has played an important role in this the last 4 or 5 years. And they had their ups and downs as freshmen and sophomores back in the EDC. We really struggled for a couple of years and we got a little bit better towards the end of their sophomore year. And then last year things went better and this year even better yet.
Absolutely. And talk about just who have been some of the contributors to this squad and getting them to the point that they're at.
Well, I think, Tylee Brodina and Presley Brown really finished strong last year at the state tournament and regionals, and they've been leaders again on the offensive end. I think defensively, though, Cameron Friddle, who's played since eighth grade on the varsity, Tori Fee, who's running the point now for us, another senior. Claire Heilman's done a nice job coming in and playing inside and a little bit of outside. And Jolie Martinson too has done a nice job just being consistent. And I think some of those seniors have just provided consistency for us.
Yeah, definitely. And what makes it enjoyable to be able to coach this squad? What are the characteristics that you just love about getting to coach this team?
I think they work hard, and that's the thing. They'll do pretty much anything we ask them to do in a game and in practice. And if we ask them to press, they'll press. If we ask them to play zone, they'll play zone. There's no questions being asked. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? They know what to do. They know the expectations. They work extremely hard. They've put a lot of time in the off season, and that's helped, and it's helped my job. They're very coachable, and that's what makes it fun to coach kids.
Yeah. And take me through region tournament time. You guys were able to roll through Grafton and Carrington and in those couple rounds. So take me through those performances and how you think your team has been looking in the postseason so far.
Well, we secured the one seed and got a bye, which was nice because we could practice and then wait on our opponent. It was Grafton. Grafton has a lot of size and strength, and they gave us a run. I think we were tied at half, and they played a really good half, and we didn't play probably as well as we wanted to. Then we kind of warmed down a little bit in the third and got things going, and then moved on and played a Carrington team who had beat us during the year at Carrington. We had split, so that was kind of concerning, and they had been playing pretty well too. But we really got after it, and I thought the kids were dialed in and really focused. We kind of took them out of their game and made them take tough shots. Our defense was pretty stellar, I guess you want to say, in that game, I thought, and then that kind of just spearheads our offense, and those steals and creating the kind of chaos and turnovers are just ways for us to score, I guess you want to say.
Yeah. And now that you guys are number one in the state tournament coming up, I believe it's Dickinson Trinity that you've got coming up on Thursday here. What are you looking forward to about that matchup?
They're a West school that struggled during the year for a while and have played better now. As of late, they've got a couple big girls inside posts. I think a 6'1" or 6'2" post, and then another 5'11". So they bring a presence inside, which is something that concerns me. They also bring a all-state guard back Annabelle Sheeler, I think her name is, and she's a good player. So they've got a couple pieces there that, and that's the reason why they won the region. But so they're a little concerning to us, and we have to game plan that and work on some things. We're not going to get a lot of shots inside the way it looks with that size. So we're going to have to mix it up and get good open looks from the outside.
What about this team makes it dangerous for the postseason playoff games? Because you said you were able to lock down in the region tournament, which it was pretty clear that you guys did. So what makes this team dangerous come state tournament time?
I think we're deep. We can play a lot of kids. We don't wear down. We can count on a lot of kids even to come off the bench. We'll play 9, 10, maybe 11 even at times or whatever. I think our pressure defensively, I think our defense in the half court and in the full court is what probably gives teams most trouble. And then that kind of spearheads our offense. So that's, I think, what probably makes us, a scary team to play. Nobody wants somebody up in their face, and making them dribble the basketball from one end to the other.
Yeah. And then just the experience level that this team has, bringing them back to stars, but then also you said 6 seniors. So just having that both depth, but also experience at this level, getting into playoffs, how important is that? Yeah,
I think that's real important. Devils Lake's played in several state tournaments, even in the other division. And it's not for these girls now, it's not their first time. Cameron Friddle and Tori Fee played, or were on the team as an 8th grader and at state, and we played in Bismarck, and our first game was against Century. So, there's some experience there with those two. And when you've been there and, it's a big court, big lights, everything, bright lights, I should say, a lot of fans, it changes things. But I think this group, even leading up to it, when we met Sunday night, everybody was kind of, okay, yep, yeah, we did this, we're going to do this. It makes them a little bit more relaxed. Hopefully more focused, I guess. I'll let you know on Thursday if I think that's true, but it's more of a relief, and it's not just kind of a thing. It takes the nerves out a little bit too. So that's one good thing about and playing in Minot, we played there last year, so same court, same everything for us.
Yeah. And you've already mentioned some of your contributors that you've got here, but who do you think is primed for a big performance coming up on Thursday? Obviously, you'd like everyone to make it a team effort, but who do you think is going to step up especially?
Well, I think you're going to probably see a good team effort all around. I don't think, Tylee Brodini, when she hits a shot or two early, she's probably in a rhythm and she's going to keep hitting them. It's kind of hard to contain her at times, and I think the other one that's probably due for a good game is Tori Fee. She had a good tournament last year, and she's had some stretches where she's hit some outside shots and mid-range shots and gotten hot. So I think that's, kind of the key there, to get a few of our shooters open. Heilman and Martinson, same thing. They got some good mid-range elbow free throw line shots that hopefully we can get them freed up and knock down some shots. That the game of basketball is simple when the ball goes in the hole and you score points. We talk about defense, we talk about all that, but if you can find a way for it to go in the hole, it's always a positive.
Absolutely. Coach, thanks for taking some time to join me here this afternoon. Number 1 seed playing on Thursday. Catch them on Thursday against Dickinson Trinity. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Yep, thanks for having me.
That's Justin Klein on the Your Live Event Coaches Show.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits, including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career, doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Don't be fooled by that beat-up old cap. Its faded crown represents the tireless work of America's farmers and ranchers. Its sturdy brim, their dedication to providing our nation with a safe, affordable food source. So we'd like to tip our hat to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
Visit with Ryan Opdahl, your local Farmers Union Insurance agent in Hillsboro.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
And right now, we're glad to be joined by third-year head coach Ben Holen for the Lobos of LaMoure-Litchville Marion girls basketball team. He's in his third year as head coach for the Lobos. Thanks, Coach, for joining us here. We appreciate it. And, well, Lobos are off to the State B tournament, and that'll be held at the Jamestown Civic Center this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we're going to cover all the Lobos games right here for you on yourliveevent.com. Before we talk about the tournament and everything, congrats again, of course, making the tournament, but let's talk about maybe the district and the region tournament. It's a long way to get here, long season. You got to go to the regular season, district tournament, region tournament. Talk about those tournaments and how you got here to the state tournament this year now.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, it's hard to get here. So we're busy prepping right now, but we're enjoying every second of it because, down here in Region 1, it feels like you're always in the thick of it. Great teams, great coaches. It's very hard to get here. Last year, we had a good team and ran into some excellent teams along the way and came up short. And the goal all year has been to get there, to get into the final 8 and to get in the dance. So I'm just so happy for the girls. They've worked so hard to get here and to meet that goal. And now we're super excited and we've been enjoying this prep week, and gosh, we just can't wait for it to be here on Thursday. But yeah, the district and the regional were both, as you would expect, tough games. You have to be prepared for them. You have to execute the things that you need to. And that's how playoff basketball should be. That's just the way it should be. And that's the way it is down here in our part of the state. And yeah, and we're just thrilled to have found a way to navigate Region 1 and represent them as the champions in the state tournament.
Yeah, in that district tournament, you lost the Lions of Linton HMB, and then you come back and beat them in that region championship, right?
Yep. Yeah, we've played them 3 times. They're a good team. They're in the tournament, and they're in the tournament for a reason. They're well coached. They're well prepared. Space it really well. Shoot it really well. They do a lot of good things, and that's why they're also still in the field. But yep, that was both the district and the regional.
Maybe talk about some of the things that you are working on in practice. Have you changed anything up since the regular season and tournament time, or you change? It's kind of the same thing for the state?
There's always things that you kind of pride yourself in that you need to take care of, make sure habits and fundamentals are locked in and where they need to be. Because in my humble opinion, there's certain things that got you there, and you can't neglect those things just because the playoffs come around. But then at the same time, you shift a little bit more specifically towards your opponent. If in a situation like this where we do have extended time to look at one opponent, we're specifically working on some things that we feel we're going to need to do well, or that we're going to need to, adjust and fix. And it's fun. I mean, that aspect of this week, that prep week, I've been super excited to have the girls be a part of that. You get a little bit of that going into the district and the regional as well, but to know that we're, one of the final 8, and that now there's nobody left but quality teams. There's nobody left that isn't well coached, well prepared, and really, really good. Again, not to belabor the point, but we're just so grateful and excited to be part of it. It's such a fun event, and the Civic last year was such a cool atmosphere. We were all there. We watched it. We were there as fans, and knowing that we're going to be part of that this year, we're really excited. But we're working hard to get ready for Benson County because they are the real deal.
Give us some of the strengths for Lobo basketball this year.
Well, we have consistent efforts and attitudes for the most part, and it allows us to practice hard and practice well. We have great leadership. We've had good leaders in the past as well. That's not something we've lacked, but we've got an exceptional group of 3 that kind of cover it all. They lead in different ways, and together they are an exceptional group of leaders, and they set the tone. And credit to the other girls, because the other girls meet that tone or match it, and we're able to practice hard and we're able to compete, and our second unit pushes the first unit, and that's one of our strengths, is just the ability to go 10 deep in practice and simulate a game, because not everybody has that blessing. We pride ourselves on being a defensive team, on winning it with that end or on that end of the court. And if I give you too much more, I'll feel like I'm giving you intel I shouldn't give. But those are a few things that we kind of stress, and rebounding, but don't want to say anymore.
Okay, sounds good. How about top teams in this state tournament this year?
Oh, it's loaded. I mean, and that's how it should be. The top half of the bracket's a gauntlet. So is the bottom. Yeah, it was fun watching the seeds come out, because, you don't really know where you're going to end up. A lot of the highly ranked, like the top 5, had gone down prior to the regional championships. So when they got in through the play-in game, you wondered how much that would affect it. I think the rankings are pretty well done. I know the coaches all had to say, we all got to vote on it, and I'm excited to watch those teams. I've seen a lot of them play, but it's always different live. You can get a feel for what they're doing in film to an extent, but live is always different in any sport. And yeah, it's going to be a fun scene for sure.
What have you been telling the girls, to enjoy the experience no matter what happens? I mean, because this is, a lot of teams, players don't get this chance to go to that state tournament. So,
yeah, that's exactly the message that we've given them and they know that, having kind of come up. We were in a really close regional semifinal last year, and then lost by 1 in the play-in. So we feel we were close last year, close enough to understand how difficult it is and how well you have to play to get into the dance at the end of the year. And I think because of that, we understand firsthand that you need to be appreciative, you need to be grateful, you need to enjoy it for the game and the opportunity that it is, because it isn't easy. It's very difficult to be in that final tournament. And we have done a great job so far this week, I feel like, enjoying the experience, taking it in, appreciating it, but also getting ready to play Thursday, because we're not just going there appreciating and taking in the scene. We're certainly going to be doing that, but we want to go compete. So we've been prepping at the same time. The girls have done a good job. They're mature beyond their years, to be honest with you.
okay, so give us, if you can look back throughout this season, any memorable moments that kind of stick out in your mind?
Yeah, we played in a few pretty close ones against good opponents. Bowman County at home was really fun. Maple Valley was really fun. Every time we played them, it was really, really close. And it's always just a battle with them. Coach Hoots always has them ready to play. They're a great team. Very deserving of a spot in Final 8. It just didn't shake out that way for them. But yeah, just to not get too specific, I guess it would just be those games against quality opponents, because there was a lot of close games where we had to show maturity and find ways to either hold a lead or extend the lead. And that's something we have been kind of longing to learn this last year and a half or so. So I would just kind of generally say that, all the close games against good opponents that we had. Mia Van Eden hit one at the buzzer to beat Maple. Not to bring that up, I hope Coach Hooch doesn't watch this, but at the buzzer, they had beaten us at the buzzer in the BCT in the Barnes County tournament, and then Mia Van Eden hit a long 2 to win it at the buzzer here against them. I mean, that's one that kind of comes to mind, but many, man. When you have a group as fun as we have, there's many, many memories that you could, ramble about. But
goals at the state B for LaMoure-Litchville Marion.
Yeah, I've been asked that question quite a bit. We just want to go up there and maintain our typical routine, maintain our typical approach, compete, play the game the right way, and represent our schools and our towns, and then have fun, enjoy it. You know, we're trying to keep it that simple because it's a special week. And again, like you've mentioned, and I've mentioned a few times as well, it's not easy to get here. So we want to go up there and make sure that we do things the right way, that we play the right way, that we approach it the right way with pride and with respect to our opponent in the game. And then at the same time, competing and just having a good time. But
Benson County, they were ranked all year. You guys were pretty much in the top 10 all year. So what kind of game are you expecting Thursday night?
yeah, they're good. They're really, really good. They're the real deal. Yeah, they were highly ranked all year and then ended up, I don't even know what they ended up in the final poll, but we're expecting a battle, and that's how it should be. You get to this stage, it's only really, really good teams left, and we're expecting to have to compete for 4 quarters, and handle the ebbs and flows of playoff basketball, maintain an even keel, and respond to runs when they happen, and make plays when needed, but we've been in a lot of games of that sort this year. Benson's as quality of an opponent as we've played, and the venue, the atmosphere will be, turned up to 11 in that regard. So we're just really excited. We expect to be in a dogfight, so to speak, but we're very excited for the challenge and we're going to enjoy it.
One more question before we let you go here. What's the schedule like? Do you get to practice a little bit on of course you had, I think, the region tournament there at the Civic, but do you get to practice a little bit before and hit and kind of get a feel for the court again?
Yeah, we'll get a shoot around tomorrow. Everybody gets a little shoot around, so we'll get a little court time. Yep. It's a venue we're familiar with, fortunately, but yeah, it'll feel different. I mean, we're excited to see how it's changed a little bit, the subtle facelifts that they give it, and just if we can sense the state tournament atmosphere, because come tip off at that, I think it's a 1 p.m. start time. Come tip off there, I mean, it's going to be a great atmosphere from start to finish.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Ben, for joining us here on your live event, and good luck at the State B, and we'll cover all 3 games for you and for everybody watching right here on YLE. So good luck, and then we'll talk to you during the games and after the games, I guess. So
thanks so much. Thank you for having me.
Yep, you bet. We'll see you.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Grow your hard-earned money at Red River State Bank. We have deposit accounts for checking, savings, business, and money markets. We also have longer-term accounts like certificates of deposit and individual retirement accounts. Now with 2 locations in Halstead and Fertile, Red River State Bank is ready to help you grow your dreams with deposit accounts for you and your business. Stop in or visit us online at redriverbank.com. Red River State Bank. Growing together. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Coach Jeremy Skoglund able to come away with the District 1 championship this season here. Jeremy, just what did you see from your team? I mean, just a complete performance here. We were talking just before he came on. He held Hankinson at 37% shooting from the floor. You out-rebounded him by 15. What did you see from those 2 particular stat lines that allowed you to win this District 1 championship this season?
Yeah, I mean, Hankinson's a great team, and they got a lot of weapons, and we just knew we had to, lock them up. We had to choose parts of the game that we wanted to take away and let them have the, a few other spots, and we were able to capitalize on that.
Able to talk a little bit about your 3 guys who are on the all-district team here in no particular order: Eddie Garza, Roddick Schmidt, and Bo Thorpe. Just kind of wanted those 3 guys earn that particular honor, and what have they meant to this team to get to this point of the year?
Yeah, I mean, Eddie, he showed it tonight. It was on full display. I mean, when that dude wants to just take over, he can, and tonight, that first half, he just put it in takeover mode, and he wasn't going to take no for an answer, and when he plays that way, it's sure fun to watch.
Able to see this particular team win a championship. Your opponent's going to be Linton HMB on Monday. You played them to start the season here. Just kind of your early thoughts on what you want to do over the next couple days as you get ready for a familiar foe and an old district foe, so to speak, in the Linton HMB Lions.
Yeah, we got to get ready. We got to go back to the lab and we got to work on some things. We certainly looked good and did a lot of good things here in this game and got what we needed to do. But there's things we need to improve on yet, and we're going to go back to the lab and keep working.
I know yesterday we talked about Roddick Schmidt against Maple River, but I'd be remiss not to talk about Bo Thorpe here tonight. 8 of 15 shooting from the floor, 18 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. And Mr. Do Everything. What you just going to see from Bo here offensively and defensively tonight?
Yeah, Bo's just deadly. Went from the outside. When he gets hot, you got to watch out. I mean, he's so good at shooting the 3-ball, and he's great from that mid range. And Bo's got a great head on his shoulders and a ton of basketball IQ, and he does a lot of good things that don't even show up on paper for us. When he drives and kicks or drives and dumps and down low to the big guys, I mean, there's a lot of things that come from his game that a lot of people don't see or understand, and it's sure fun when he's on.
I know you're going to get to Monday, and it's a win or go home game. If you can get past that, then you can worry about other things. But biggest thing that has allowed you to get to this point, I know the Richland game was a little choppy, but then all of a sudden you came out a really good start against Maple River, back and forth game with Hankinson. You found your rhythm. What just worked for 3 days down in Wapaton that you hope to carry over with you now to the Buffalo City here, Jeremy?
Well, yeah, obviously the momentum's great. We're coming out of this game with a big win, and that momentum's going to be great for us. That loss to Linton to start the season off, these guys had we were missing a couple guys when we played that game, and another guy didn't have a very good night shooting. And, these guys have had a sour taste in their mouth all season from that loss. And they actually, before we even got into this, wanted that game. So I guess, hey, they got what they wanted. So now they just got to come out and prove it.
Hey, Jeremy, thanks so much for your time this weekend down in Wapaton this week. Best of luck once you get to Jamestown on Monday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back here on our postgame show on YourLiveEvent.com, joined by Matt Norman of the Central Cast Squirrels. And, Coach, you guys came out firing on all cylinders tonight, energy ablaze on the road. What was the difference between last week and this week?
It was kind of a crazy week for us and our crew, and their ability to just, honestly just gel together and be there for one another and literally play for the name on the front of their jersey and do it for one another in a trying week. It just says a lot about the character of the kids we got in our program. I couldn't be prouder for them. They played their tails off against a solid Northern Cast team that's been playing well as of late as well. And so the amount of love they have for one another and the amount of love I have for them is I don't have the right words for tonight and tonight's win and what it means for us.
Yeah, we heard Brody up here just a moment ago. He's expressing just the emotions of that final regular season game as a senior. Tell everyone just how much you've enjoyed being able to coach Brody.
I'm going to get a little emotional here. Brody Runk is an unbelievable kid. The strength he has and just his ability to come in and be our glue, man. He brings everybody together. When he's going through tough times, he's still there. He's somebody we can lean on. He's somebody that I've learned a lot from. I couldn't be more proud of Brody. He's just an unbelievable human.
How nice has it been having him as just the mentor, kind of bridging the gap from what you had last year to the next era of Squirrels basketball that's upcoming?
Yeah, it's been huge. Brody was a part of our state championship team, and he understands just all the effort that it takes to continue to win games. And, as we've transitioned over the last couple senior classes into Brody leading us, we understood that this year there was going to be a lot of growth that has to happen. And every single game that we're in, we have to be competitive. And being competitive isn't always easy when you're, outmatched and people have had, more varsity experience and they're more physically developed. But that willingness to compete, that willingness to win 50-50 balls, that willingness to just go hunt extra possessions is huge. And he's led the charge with that.
Yeah. A lot of the year, you probably hear it plenty saying, oh, this team doesn't have the experience, the varsity time. It seemed like that team was just sick of that tonight, and they just threw it out all on the floor tonight and just let them have it with effort.
Yeah, I've said, in interviews with you in the past, we have to embrace the fact that we're young, and that's okay. And so when we can't control that we're young, we can control our effort, our attitude. We can control our attention to detail. And I've told the kids all year, your execution might not always be perfect, but your effort always is. And so as long as we're there, as long as we can play with that heart, we're going to be a team that people don't want to see in the region tournament. We got a lot of room to grow and a lot of learning to do still, but very, very proud of where they're at.
There's another kid out there. There's a lot of kids playing with heart, but another one that had 23 points tonight was Cash Lorenz. So he goes on the flurry of 7-0 himself.
Yep.
Just talk about what he brings to this squad and just how crazy it is to see a kid with that shooting ability at that age.
Yeah, we've been watching Cash for a while, and obviously we knew that this was going to be his big step onto the stage this year. He's a student of the game. He's a gym rat. He plays really, really well in space, and I don't know if we've got anybody that shoots more in the offseason than Cash and Easton does as well. And so we're really proud with the energy and the success they were able to have tonight. But this is a great win for us. We're really thrilled with it. But now everybody's back to 0-0. Now we have to go and we have to perform under the lights of the region tournament. So we've got a lot to work on, a lot to grow from. This is a good game to get under our belt headed into the region tournament.
Well, it was certainly a fun time watching you guys put the pedal to the metal and just not look back tonight. So enjoy this win and congrats on a nice closeout to the regular season, Coach.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing our heritage, sharing our future. Choosing the right bank for your financial needs can be challenging with the many choices available. Dakota Heritage Bank is pleased you're interested in knowing more about what they can do for you. The Dakota Heritage Bank community bank setting is a strong advantage they have over larger, less personal banks. Customers are more than account numbers, they are friends and neighbors. Working together, Dakota Heritage Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Parenting is hard for all of us. And so providing those little resources that we can share for those conversations that are hard to have and to kind of be that icebreaker for both professionals, parents, and then open up that conversation to the more engaging conversation that's needing to be had.
Being a parent myself, oftentimes it's the simple things that make a difference.
As a busy parent myself, just engaging with your kids, making it an everyday thing so they know that you're there, they can always come to you when those difficult situations do arise.
Contact Trail District Health Unit in Hillsborough for more information.
Here we are with our senior spotlight here, Bridger Carlson of Park Christian Boys Basketball. And Bridger, senior year, you guys have had a really solid record. You guys are going to be the 2 seed going into sections coming up here this week. So take me through just the joys of being able to play this year and what's the season been like for you so far?
Man, it's been great. We've had a great start, great all around chemistry. I've been playing with these same guys for the past 3 years since a new coach came in. It's kind of a whole new team, so it's just been really nice to grow with them. And then it's all come together this year. I mean, last year we had a rough start, and now we won in the playoffs. This year everything's been going pretty smooth and coming off a great win on a Friday, and we're just hoping to continue that into playoffs.
Yeah, take me through that win. Was it Nevis that you guys got that win against?
Yeah. Nevis was it was a great win, and we were missing Isaac, our top scorer, at least points per game, and I don't know. We just had a really good defensive game. I followed the game plan that our coach gave us, and hit our open shots when we got them. Great team chemistry in the game, and really helped us get the win.
Definitely. And you mentioned kind of that chemistry aspect. As you've been able to play with this same group of guys for the last few years. You've had Coach Geezy now to guide you guys. So what's it been like having that continuity, and what's the advantage to having that?
It's really nice because I know like other teams are in previous years at school, you don't really get to form a great team chemistry because you play with guys for 1 year and then you got a whole new lineup or even a new coach. Like freshman year, I think was just a little hard because there was a lot of guys that were trying to get varsity time and the lineups weren't really the same. They're changing. So I think a lot of people didn't know how to play with each other. But I mean, basically since sophomore year, we've had 4 of the 5 starters have been the same, with just Gavin is our new starter, who was coming off the bench a few years ago. But other than that, I mean, we've had the same players. So just been really easy being able to, you learn how to play with someone because you learn like what they like to do, their tendencies, so you can help them become more efficient in game, like with their shooting pocket and, like kind of what they're going to do. It's just, it clicks after a year or two.
One of those guys that it's been fun to watch you on the boards with is Dan Swears. He's kind of that guy that goes up and gets those rebounds for you guys, and you and him seem to have a good chemistry in that front court. So, what's it like being teammates with the guy like Dan that's just such a hard worker?
It's It's really great. I mean, I've known him since I was really young. I've been playing basketball with him since elementary, and I've he's just really a selfless guy. Like he's not there to get himself a bucket or be the top scorer every game, even though it does happen occasionally. He's really there to just hold our team together, hold it down. He's a great defensive presence. He's a great rebounder. He's a great teammate. He's always encouraging each other. He's never bringing anyone down. So it's really been good and with him through life, not just basketball, just throughout our childhood. It's been great.
Absolutely. And little bit of a new coaching face last a few years ago, Brendan Giese taking over Park Christian boys basketball. So what has he brought to this team? What characteristics and traits has he been able to coach into you guys?
Well, so every year we've had a theme word or a theme like phrase, and this year it's just been brotherhood. And it's he knows we've been playing together for years, and so he's really emphasized this year to just stay together. I mean, we cannot like break apart. We have to stay strong together, and that's really what's going to help us throughout the year. He really brought like a revival that sophomore year. Like after my freshman year, I kind of just felt low, felt down about basketball. I didn't wasn't in a great spot, and he just helped like spark that fire back in me just to love the sport, love the game.
Yeah. And how has this team grown, would you say, over the last few years, being able to keep that core group together? How has it gotten closer and just progressed to be the playoff force that it could be?
I mean, we've grown in a lot of ways. I mean, not only like just visibly, you can see our records just progressively gotten better over the years, but I think we've just become more efficient. We've become closer off the court too. I mean, I hang out with a lot of these guys basically 3, 4 times a week outside of just school and practice. So I really just get to know them as a person, and it's just it really I think it helps. It helps on the court as much as it doesn't seem like as much time as you can spend with them off the court, it'll translate on the court. I guarantee it.
Well, you've also grown up in a basketball family too, with three other siblings involved in basketball and starters at Park Christian, and your sister Sarah, of course, having a solid year for the girls team. But just take me through growing up in such a basketball household with a lot of talented athletes.
It's been great because I've always had either competition or someone pushing me. I mean, either it's my mom when I was younger, she'd push me to do like dribbling in my basement. It's pretty. I remember it was one time she made me do like figure 8 dribbling drills, and I could not get it. I think I started crying. And I have other people like my grandpa. He was a coach, and throughout my high school years, he's really pushed me to just be the best player that I can be. And I've always had my older brother Austin. He's played, and so he was always that person I was chasing, the like competition. I remember playing like 1v1s with him when I was younger. That was just great competition for me as I was growing up through that basketball family.
Do you remember the first time you beat Austin in a 1v1?
Honestly, it might have been during COVID, like seventh to eighth grade summer. I think I might have beat him once just because I was calling fouls every time I drive. So I'd get the ball back up and maybe shoot over him a few times. But might have been the first time I was there because I actually started growing a little bit, putting some weight on.
Nice, nice. This team, they got some high flyers with yourself and Isaac Jacobson, and I mean, you had a play of the week with the alley oop off the backboard that you completed with Tyler Loeb. So, talk about the how fun it is to kind of have that high flying aspect on a team like this.
It just makes it really electric. You know, my grandpa has also talked to me. He's like, those things really help like get the crowd in the game, and especially in a home game, it really changes the game. Like a home crowd could really influence the game, creating noise and celebrating after stuff like that. And it goes back to how I've just been playing with these same guys as I'm able to communicate that with Tyler as he's running up the court. I'm able to yell something at him, and he knows that I'll be there, so he just throws it off the backboard, and I was there.
Very cool. Well, you guys do get to host on Thursday here if everything pans out the way it's looking like. So, hosting it for the section on Thursday. How excited are you to be able to get onto that home floor and see playoff action at home?
It's just gonna be great. I know the atmosphere is gonna be loud. It's gonna be really fun with all my friends. Friends will be in the stands. Friends and family will be there. It'll be a good matchup. Whether it's I think it's NCE or New York Mills, whoever it is, it'll be hopefully a good game, and just hope for the best.
Yeah. And the Pine de Prairie has some tough opponents in it, and I mean, you guys came out, I believe it was second this year behind Ada. But talk about seeing like those teams over and over again throughout your career, the Adas, the Fertile Beltramis, and LPAs, all of those teams that you get to just be familiar with, and what it's like playing against those guys.
A lot of it, I think, when I was younger, might have been like wanted like. It's a great competition. Like when I was younger, I probably disliked them more than I do now. Now, truly, every time I play teams like Ada or NC, LPA, those teams that we play like twice or more a year, I really just respect them. It's always fun to play them. I think I've become friends with some of the players in those teams. It's really nice to see other people play the game just with like a competitive fire in them. It's always fun.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me today, Bridger. It's been a pleasure watching you this season, and we'll be covering you guys on your live event this coming Thursday, whether it's Norman County East or New York Mills. So looking forward to seeing you out there. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
That's Bridger Carlson on our Senior Spotlight on YourLiveEvent.com.
That again does it for the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Join us next week on Wednesday, March the 12th for more area coaches as we spotlight them throughout the Red River Valley. The YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show brought to you in part by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night.